Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I'm your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
To answer your question, for 30 wonderful years, people knew me as the fellow who walked out from behind the multicolored curtains, waited for the applause to die down, and said, "Here's Johnny." I was the host of The Tonight Show.
A true legend of late night. When and where were you born?
I arrived in this world on October 23, 1925, right in the lovely little town of Corning, Iowa.
And what was your given name at birth?
My parents, Ruth and Homer, named me John William Carson. Just a classic, straightforward Midwestern name.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
Nothing too glamorous, I'm afraid. I was named John after my grandfather, and William was a strong family name. It was shortened to Johnny as I grew up, and that's the name that stuck with me all the way to television screens across America.
What was your hometown like growing up?
While I was born in Iowa, my family packed up and moved to Norfolk, Nebraska when I was about 8 years old, so I always considered Norfolk to be my true hometown. Oh, it was a wonderful place to grow up. It was a classic, peaceful Midwestern town where everyone knew each other, very community-oriented, and it really shaped my values.
What was your family life like?
My father, whom we affectionately called Kit, worked as a manager for a power company, and my mother, Ruth, kept our home running smoothly. I had an older sister named Catherine and a younger brother named Richard. We were a standard, quiet, Midwestern family.
What kind of kid were you?
I was a bit of a quiet, introverted kid initially, but everything changed for me when I was 12 years old. I happened to find a book on magic, and I was completely transfixed. I immediately sent away for a magic kit in the mail and started practicing card tricks constantly. Before long, I was trying out my routine on my family, asking, "Pick a card, any card."
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
Once that magic bug bit me, I dreamed of being a professional magician. By the time I was 14, I had my own little stand draped in a black velvet cloth with "The Great Carson" emblazoned on the front. I loved the thrill of entertaining people.
What was your first job?
My very first paid gig as an entertainer was performing my magic act for the Norfolk Rotary Club when I was 14. Later on, during high school, I also worked as a movie theater usher, which was great because I got to see a lot of films.
Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
I don't know if I felt different, quote unquote, in a grand sense, but I certainly realized early on that while I was quite shy in normal everyday social interactions, the moment I stepped onto a stage or behind a microphone, all that shyness just evaporated. The stage gave me a confidence I didn't naturally have in a crowded room.
What's a decision that changed everything for you but felt small at the time?
When I first went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln after serving in the Navy, I originally enrolled to study journalism because I thought I wanted to write comedy. But after a few months, I made the quick decision to switch my major to speech and drama so I could perform on the radio. That little pivot set me directly on the path to broadcasting.
What was your biggest break?
Oh, without a doubt, it was being asked to take over as the host of The Tonight Show in 1962 after Jack Parr left. It was a massive shoes to fill situation, but it completely transformed my career and my life.
What were your biggest struggles before success?
When I first packed up and moved out to Hollywood to try and make it, I faced months and months of rejection. My first job out there was just reading the station call letters, the time, and the weather at KNXT. It wasn't glamorous, and there were times money was incredibly tight, but I kept pushing through because I loved the medium so much.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Oh, you certainly have moments of doubt when the phone isn't ringing and the shows you try don't take off right away. But honestly, I loved comedy and broadcasting too much to ever seriously walk away. I felt incredibly lucky to have found the one thing I wanted to do with my life.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
Preparation was absolutely everything. People thought the show was completely spontaneous, but I spent hours every day reading the newspapers, keeping up with current events, studying the guest bios, and working with my writers on the monologue. You have to be deeply prepared so that you can look completely relaxed and effortless when the cameras start rolling.
What job would you have had if fame never happened?
If the television thing hadn't panned out, I think I would have stayed in radio, perhaps as a local station manager or a radio comedy writer. I just love the airwaves too much to stay away from them.
How did relationships change after success?
Success certainly changes the dynamic of your life because suddenly everyone wants a piece of your time. It can make you a bit more guarded. You have to work harder to protect your private life and ensure that the people around you are there for you, and not just the television persona.
Did fame bring happiness?
Fame brings a lot of wonderful opportunities, financial security, and the immense joy of knowing you are making millions of people laugh at the end of a hard day. But real, lasting happiness comes from the quiet moments, your hobbies, and peace of mind. Fame is just a byproduct of the work.
What was the downside of becoming famous?
The loss of privacy is the biggest hurdle. When you're in 17 million living rooms every single night, people feel like they know you intimately. Walking down the street or going out for a quiet dinner becomes a major production because you're always on in the public's eyes.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
People often assumed that because I was so gregarious and talkative on television, I must be the life of the party in real life. In reality, I remained a pretty private, quiet Midwestern boy who preferred a small circle of friends and a quiet evening over a massive Hollywood gala.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
Professionally, I was deeply influenced by comedians like Jack Benny. His sense of timing, his use of silence, and the way he could get a massive laugh just by giving the camera a look. That was masterclass stuff, and I studied him closely.
What was life like in your final years?
After I stepped away from the show in 1992, life slowed down beautifully. I spent a lot of time on my boat, traveled a bit, and really enjoyed the peace and quiet away from the relentless daily grind of a late-night show. It was wonderful to just relax.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
After my farewell broadcast, I was effectively retired from the public eye. I did occasionally send jokes along to my good friend David Letterman for his monologue, which was a fun way to keep my toes in the water without having to put on the makeup and suit myself.
When and where did you pass away, and how old were you at the time?
I passed away in LA at 79 years old. The date was January 23rd, 2005.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I was a very passionate amateur astronomer. I loved looking at the stars, owned several high-powered telescopes, and was very close friends with the great astronomer Carl Sagan. We used to talk about the cosmos for hours, and I loved having him on the show to tease him about his famous billions and billions phrase. They even named a minor planet after me in 1981, Planet 3252 Johnny.
What was your favorite food?
I always kept a fondness for simple, classic American comfort food. You can't beat a really well-cooked steak, some potatoes, and a good slice of pie.
Did you have any known rivalries?
Late-night television is inherently a competitive business, and the press loved to cook up dramatic rivalries between me and anyone else who started a show, like Joan Rivers or Arsenio Hall. But on my end, I just focused on making our show the best it could be every single night.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Find the thing you absolutely love to do, something you would do for free if you had to, and then work harder at it than anyone else. And remember, timing is a huge part of life, so when your break comes, make sure you are entirely prepared to grab it.
Johnny, do you have any closing remarks about the interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with the listeners before we sign off?
I just want to say what a beautiful experience it has been to sit down and chat like this. It brings back so many fond memories of the golden days of television. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Calvin. And to everyone listening out there, keep laughing.
And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, Legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.